They said better late than never. We sincerely apologize for coming a whole way behind schedule this morning. But we have to be here for you. It's Perspectives on Osrc television. My name is Remy Allen, and I've got my beautiful sisters right here with me. Iso Samunilari is here. Good morning, Iso sir.
Good morning.
Looking radiant as always.
Thank you so much. And you're looking good too.
Thank
we are
you.
all looking our best.
Oh, yes. And, Atilayo Akifolari, the beautiful Olojuton Soro. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Remy. Good morning, Isosa.
Good morning.
Yeah, and it's good to be here again. Welcome. Thanks for always sticking through. It's another edition. Of course, I know you'll be there to watch us.
Yes, we know you'll be there to watch us, and that's why once again we're saying we're sorry for coming behind schedule. Because of our time, we hit the newspapers headlines straight, and I'm starting with the Nation's newspaper with this creamy headline: DSS rejects foreign funding for security intelligence gathering. And it says Riders Secret Service seeks amendment to proposed bill. Governors perfect state police modalities. That's from the Nation newspaper, and you can find the details. It starts stated on page 1, and you can continue on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. Keyamo, why government is backing local airlines? The details is on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Regional Development Commissions get guidelines. Go to page 2 of the Nation newspaper, you get a full story there. Eko Bridge requires 12 billion naira to avoid collapse, says Umai. That's on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. From there, we'll move to this next
the
one.
Punch. Okay, so moving on to the Punch newspaper this morning. Federal government raises 500 billion naira emergency security fund, and the rider says fund deducted from federation account ahead of May FAAC meeting, FAC meeting. Also, another rider says DSS 6 ban on foreign funding of security operations. Also, the government engaged Attorney General on state police structure. You can find that on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Fraudster rake in 134 billion naira from banks and customer coming from CBN, and details.
Page 4. General Rabi's death. Retired general seek security reforms, back stronger community defense. Find that on page 3. Court sentences 3 terrorists to death as 2 get life imprisonment. Find that on page 12. And banditry, false security alert set Kwara in panic mode. And that's on page 31. FAC, FG states local governments share 2.3 trillion naira for May. That's on page 7. OB demands transparency in government borrowing. Cities South Africa as cites, South Africa as model. I find that on page 21. Governors renew support for state police, demand constitutional safeguard, and that's on page 3. Yeah, and that's all will be taken from the Nigerian Tribune this morning. All right, moving on.
All right, we have quite a lot of newspaper with us this morning, but this is the match we can take this morning because of our time. We'll go on a short break. When we'll come back, we'll move to the okay. I think my producer said we can still take more from the dailies this morning, and I'll be looking at the Daily Trust with this headline: how my only daughter died in school. That's quite painful. And this one also says state police must have the day. Please do stay with us. right, welcome back. Moving to our focus this morning as Ekiti State prepares for the 2026 governorship election. Questions are being asked about whether the preparations by electoral authorities, political parties, security agencies, and of course, civil society groups will be enough to deliver a free, fair, and credible poll. One critical aspect of that conversation is inclusion. Will every eligible voter, including persons with disabilities, have equal access and, of course, opportunity to participate meaningfully in the electoral process? To help us examine these issues, we are being joined by Jennifer Dafwat of TAF Africa, an organization at the forefront of promoting disability inclusion and equal participation in governance and democratic processes. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us on our focus for today.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you for having me as well.
Good morning. All right, let's start from your assessment so far. How prepared are today?
I mean, if you're here in town, you notice the atmosphere state, and then in our conversations and our relationship and our interaction with INEC, with security agents and the different stakeholders, we find that there every quarter basically, or every group is doing its best within the observer network, which TAF Africa, one of the observer network, which is the joint election observation hub, comprising of certain organizations together as a cohort, are also all on ground. We've deployed TAF Africa has deployed 150 observers, or at least is deploying 150 observers on the election day. But at this point, we are, training and retraining our observers and just making sure that all is on ground and all is set. So in terms of preparations, I can, assure you, or at least from most people testify that in Ekiti right now, different stakeholders are pulling all on, because this is just less than 24 hours to the election, so different stakeholders are now pulling all the stops to make sure that election tomorrow happens.
Okay, so with all these preparations you have talked about, because our discussion is asking whether this preparation will translate into credible polls, what in your view are the key indicators of a credible election?
I mean, key indications for a credible elections, first of all, we're looking at the integrity of the polls. And when we talk about integrity of the polls, we are not just talking about the casting of the ballot or the counting of the result, but we are concerned about the participation and the experience of voters leading up to the election day. And so, as it stands, with less than 24 hours to the election, what has been the experience of voters so far? Have voters experienced any form of intimidation or inducement leading up to the elections? Where campaigns based on the issues and key issues, or were they just rhetorics and political jargon being thrown around? These make up the experiences of voters. And on election day, is everybody able to participate freely, safely, and independently? And when we say everybody, we're looking at all the different groups, especially vulnerable groups, which are made up of persons with disabilities, women, young people, and even, very elderly persons who are in our society. So these are that to make up of the electoral process. And for the electoral umpire, which is INEC, we're looking at right now what are the preparations. I know this morning already there will be different activities going on, the activation of rack centers and all of those things going on, in INEC. So all of these things, are they done when they are supposed to be done? Because by today, sensitive materials and all of the things required for elections do not move to where they are supposed to be. That begins to tell you a telltale signs of what the issues will be by tomorrow. So yeah, these are some of the things to look out for in terms of the electoral preparedness and what makes for a credible election.
All right, now you've spoken about voters' participation and experience as well. Now let's talk about voter apathy, which has been a recurring challenge in Ekiti elections, perhaps due to mistrust from voters who feel their votes don't count. From your own perspective now, what concrete strategies do you think can realistically boost turnout this time in Ekiti 2026 election? 2026 election.
24 hours to 24 hours to election. I think that the conversation of strategies to employ at this point is rather too tight, and all is not lost. I know, but the conversation at this point. I don't know how much results we will see with whatever strategies that I share here. But really, the issue of voter apathy, is a systemic issue, and with each passing election, you get to see different sides of this issue and different things that are promoting or sustaining voter apathy. And some of the issues, include the economic state of Nigeria as a country, and so that begins to affect the way people engage, the way voters engage. And one of the things that we have seen over the years in the electoral process is an increase in vote buying. And it is almost as though the political actors no longer even do the work that they are supposed to do in terms of galvanizing voters to come out. Because one of the things we have always argued over the years is that voter education and mobilization is the chief responsibility of political parties. Yes, INEC will do its job. Yes, the National Orientation Agency will do its job. It will do its bit. Yes, civil society organizations like TAF Africa will do our bit, And some weeks ago, we were here in Ekiti going to the different, we went around to about 6 communities in different senatorial districts and local government, majorly to mobilize persons with disability and to enlighten them on why participation is very important and why they need to come out and be a part of this process. However, after doing all of that, which is our part of our responsibility, the people with the main responsibility, then they now resort to gimmicks and other means. Chiefly, you're looking at this money politics, where political parties are resorting and just waiting for election day to give voters' money, or like we have seen in some of our engagements in this pre-election period, where what they do is they call the cluster heads. And this happens even with persons among communities of persons with disability. They can come to a community and say, oh, in this community there's a cluster of persons with disability, who is their head? And they find such people and give them money to engage them to get mobilized people within their circle of influence. And so this just reduces the quality of our electoral process and quality of engagement, because at the end, when we are not debating on the issues, you're not able to galvanize the trust of voters to say, okay, this person that is talking about this issue and this issue, perhaps if I come out and vote for the person is likely to, take care of or tackle.
All right,
issues or
Jennifer.
But we don't see a lot of that happening.
Hello, Jennifer. We'll need to take a pause, a breather. We'll get back to you because we're going to the newsroom now to take the news. We'll get back to you. All right, moving straight to the news studio for the news developing stories. Please do stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Developing Stories. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. We begin with security. The Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Southwest, Fayade Mustafa, has commended the Ondo State government for its sustained efforts in prioritizing the security of lives and property across the state. DIG Mustafa gave the commendation during a courtesy visit to Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa at the government house in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Government House correspondent Zim BMA's report is presented by Kemisola Ojomu.
Speaking during the meeting, the Deputy Inspector General of Police for the Southwest, Fayade Mustafa, highlighted key areas where collaboration between the Ondo State government and security agencies has continued to yield positive results. He expressed appreciation to Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa for consistently responding promptly to security challenges whenever they arise. Mustafa explained that his visit to Ondo State was in line with the directive of the Inspector General of Police, Tunji Disu, who mandated DIGs to embark on regional sensitization tour across the country. According to him, the exercise is aimed at engaging officers and men of the Nigerian police force on emerging security challenges while also reinforcing the commitment of the police leadership to improved welfare for personnel. He added that the visit also provided an opportunity to engage with governors across the Southwest with a view to reviewing existing security strategies and strengthening collaboration with key stakeholders.
And also to meet His Excellency, the executive governors of the state, and assure them that the police is determined and ready to face all the security challenges of the country, and that we are working very hard, especially to fine-tune our strategy, especially in the Southwest, that we have started witnessing some alien criminal activities, especially the one that happened in your state of recent. And to also let His Excellency, the governors of the Southwest, know that their support is highly indispensable in this regard, and that we need their support in all respects, and I appreciate them for the support they have been given in the past. Because I know all the governors in the Southwest have been very tremendous in their support for the police, and that we are craving for more support.
Responding, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, represented by his deputy Olaide Adelami, commended the Inspector General of Police for initiating the regional tour, describing it as a proactive step toward accessing security realities and developing stronger response strategies.
Those states, one of the safest so far in all the states in the Federation. We've invested so much on security and will continue to invest more. Because in response to your appeal to His Excellency, I will also let you know when it comes. Security can be divided into two areas, broadly, surveillance and the response. The information gathered through surveillance and response. And what we need is that we need to heighten or improve on our quick response.
The governor reaffirmed his administration's commitment to supporting security agencies and sustaining partnerships aimed at ensuring effective policing and the safety of residents across Ondo State. He also urged the police to leverage technology and strengthen intelligence gathering in order to enhance crime prevention and law enforcement nationwide. According to the governor, the state government has recently donated 50 operational vehicles to various security agencies as part of efforts to boost security operations alongside regular logistical and financial support.
The deployment of technology is very, very important, which you have said. We emphasize that it's through deployment of technology that we help to capture all the nooks and crannies of masses, so that the vast forest that we have. His Excellency, my principal, doesn't joke with supporting the security operative that we have in the state, and we continue to do more.
Governor Aiyedatiwa assured the visiting DIG that his administration will continue to work closely with all security agencies to ensure that residents of the state can sleep with their two eyes closed.
The federal government has called for stronger collaboration between the media and security agencies as part of efforts to improve national security and strengthen public confidence in government. Minister of Information and National Administration Mohammed Idris made the call at a National Security Summit held in Abuja and organized by the Nigerian Union of Journalists in partnership with the Department of State Services. Idris said the media and security agencies have important and complementary roles in nation building, noting that both institutions are critical to promoting peace, unity, and national development. The minister revealed that Nigeria continues to face security challenges, including terrorism, banditry, cybercrime. May 2020 revenue after deducting about 500 billion naira for a national security emergency intervention. According to a report, the deduction was made before revenue sharing and was known to commissioners of finance from the 36 states. Official documents show that 250 billion naira was earmarked for a military intervention fund, while 252 billion naira was allocated to an infrastructure development fund for states. The emergency funding comes as Nigeria battles insurgency, banditry, kidnappings, communal clashes, and crude oil theft across several regions. Away from politics, the National Economic Council (NEC) has approved 83.21 billion naira for an anticipatory action task force aimed at mitigating flooding and other climate-related disasters across the country, cutting by half an initial request of 166.42 billion naira, presented by the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu. Briefing journalists after the Cross River State Governor Basiotu said the council opted for a phased approach, stressing that the reduction reflected prudent resource management rather than a lack of urgency. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mufwang said the approved sum represented only the first phase of intervention, adding that longer-term measures, including reservoir projects to address flooding linked to the periodic release of water from Cameroon's Lagdo Dam, will be considered later. The council also examined the proposed National Regional Development Policy for 2026 to 2030, with Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf saying governors were directed to review the framework and provide inputs before its implementation. And that does it on Developing Stories, but don't go away as Perspectives continues. Good morning.
right, welcome back from the news studio where we took developing stories. Moving on, we still have our guest, Jennifer Dafwat, who is with TAF Africa. And this morning we are looking at Ekiti Decides 2026, where we are asking the question, will preparations translate into credible polls? Jennifer, thank you for staying with us.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right. So quickly, we've actually looked on voters apathy. We also talked about vote buying, but there's something very major we also need to talk about, which is security, because security remains a major election concern. So, what measures should be prioritized?
Excuse me. Thank you for that. Yes, you're right to say that security must be prioritized because, one of the things we didn't talk about in the when we talked about apathy is the issue of security. Sometimes, especially for persons with disabilities, what keeps them away from the polls is also fear of safety. If I go out for election or to vote and something happens, will I be secure? And so the measures to be put in place is, as the law states, there are supposed to be security personnel at every polling unit. And in the course of previous elections, we have seen the different levels of adherence to that law. And sometimes it is, you find that some polling units have no security officials at all. Some have just one. And, ideally by the law, there's supposed to be more than one. So just making sure that these, even the provision for the law is followed is one way to, bolster trust in the process and faith. And voters know that, okay, if security is taken care of, at least I'm not afraid for my life or for my safety. So that means I can come out and vote. Aside that, you also want to, look out again. What is the pre-election environment saying? Has there been a lot of infractions and thuggery and certain issues? Thankfully, the reports for pre-election violence in this coming Ekiti election has not been high, and so there's the room for people to at least believe that since there's been some form of containment in the pre-election season, then the election itself shouldn't cause any extra security issues.
Yes.
And then there's also the responsibility of voters and citizens generally. Citizens should report once anything going on, anything untoward around polling units, then these infractions or these suspicions should be reported to the necessary authorities, so that people take caution, and also for people to say no to violence, because in the end it is people who give themselves to be used by political actors, and so there's also that citizen responsibility to say no and to be decisive and to stand to protect one another.
All right, Jennifer, as a disability inclusion champion, which you've also talked about, you mentioned disability issues that much. Have you observed any improvements by INEC in making the electoral process more accessible to persons with disabilities? If yes, what stands out?
Can you hear me?
Are you with me? Can you hear me?
Hear what you're saying. It's breaking so badly.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Of the network.
Hello, yes.
Hello, Jennifer. Are you there now?
Hello? Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Breaking.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Okay, so I said as a disability inclusion champion, have you observed any improvements by INEC in making the electoral process? What stands out this time?
So I think for us, it's the continuation of our partnership with INEC. So in Anambra, during the Anambra elections, we had the opportunity to, and the honor to deploy sign language interpreters to select polling units in Anambra. And in Ekiti, we are also repeating that process in partnership with INEC. And while sign language interpreters are only one aspect of making elections accessible, we are happy that at least there's this step being taken. We also look forward to INEC also mainstreaming and taking ownership of this process, so that because the number that South Africa are not as many compared to the number of polling units. And so we're looking at proper disaggregation of data so that we know where there are concentration of voters with hearing impairment. INEC has this data, and then an increase in the number of sign language interpreters sent to these polling units. Indeed, the sign language interpretation, braille ballot guide, magnifying glasses, large print posters, and even physical accessibility to polling booths and polling units and all of that. These are things that we are still advocating for. Yes, we've made some form of progress with the sign language interpreter, but there's room for more, because voters with hearing impairment need support to be able to support a braille ballot guide, all the assistive devices. And the thing is, the electoral act has made provision for these things to, has stated that these assistive devices should be made available. And so we just need to go a step further. INEC needs to go a step further in ensuring that what the law accounts for is also provided to persons with disability. To be honest, there's still large room, because we were even during our trainings earlier this week on persons with disabilities and our findings. One of the things we realized is how much in Ekiti State there's a high level of inaccessibility to buildings, and so we're just looking at, that's why we're deploying 150 observers to the field tomorrow, so that we see what's the level of accessibility to polling units, and we're hoping that persons with physical disabilities will not have to go through harrowing experiences just because they want to exercise their civic rights. So these are some of the issues that we are seeing at the moment.
Okay, all right. So quickly, on a scale of 1 to 10, how optimistic are you about Ekiti 2026 election, and why?
There are different criteria that we're looking out for. So if I give you one scale, it may not cut across board.
Okay.
But for us, I'll stick to our focus as a disability inclusion champion, for South Africa, to say that on that scale, we're somewhere in the middle, in say 5. And 5 because I mentioned that we had series of engagement with communities across Ekiti State to mobilize voters and tell them they are able to vote, and to have them come out and vote. Just because of the work that we have done on ground, so we're eager to see what that from the feedback we got and some of the issues that have been raised over time that we know have not necessarily been addressed, we recognize that that may still hinder a large number.
Sure.
But I mean, it's a 50-50
Okay.
thing where we stand right now.
All right, and now let's talk about your group as election observers. How much real influence do you have in shaping outcomes? And has there been instances where your findings, directly led to accountability or reforms?
Yes, thank you. I mentioned that one of our work in Anambra elections and now in Ekiti, if not for the work that we had done over the years, there was such room, right, to deploying sign language interpreters. And we consistently make our findings available to INEC and even to the public. When you follow, our communication channel, our website, or any of the social media channels, we consistently make these findings available because we need to raise awareness. And we also have different programs and campaigns that we run throughout the electoral circle, or the electoral cycle. So right now, we are able to vote. But post the lead up to elections, where we have both able to vote and able to run, which is both sensitizing the public that persons with disabilities have the capacity, to run for office. Sometimes people just see you that you're a person with disability and they write you off, voters write you off. And so we're sensitizing the voters, or we are also mentoring select persons, with disability, people who applied for one of our programs under the Able to Run, to mentor them as well on what it takes to run for office. So these are things that we advocate for. Post-election, there are opportunities for appointive officers, and we are saying, we advocate to the government, to elected officials, and all of that, to say that appoint persons with disability as part of your cabinet and to do work, because these are people who, possess the ability and capacity to deliver. So we have seen over time that these campaigns, have yielded results. However, it's not a one-off thing. This is something we have to keep
continue
doing until society catches up with.
Thank you, Jennifer Dafwat, with TAF Africa, and she's the disability inclusion champion. Thank you for your time this morning with us. Because of our time, we have to let you go. Thank you, and all the best tomorrow during the election.
Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. That's been Jennifer Dafwat, working with TAF Africa. She is a disability inclusion champion. All right, we are now moving to the next and the last part of our program. But before then, we also want to get your contribution, especially those in Ekiti who are on ground there now. We are people there from the atmosphere. It's charged, I guess. I want to hear from you. What's it like now in Ekiti State as we move to the election tomorrow? You can reach us on 0706 325 5428, 0706 325 5428. Share your thoughts with us. Share your experience with us. What is it like in Ekiti State right now? We know that election is tomorrow, just a few hours away. So let's hear from you. What's been like? What can you say about the preparation? What are you expecting from the election tomorrow in Ekiti State, as Adno Governor runs another year, 4 years term in Ekiti State? Let's hear from you. But as we're waiting to pick your call, we'll move also to the last lap of our program, which is what's trending, the trending stories in the in Nigeria and everywhere, but we are focusing more in Nigeria today as I start national tragedy and evidence of the country's deteriorating security situation. Agbedi said the murder of the retired military officer underscored the inability of the state to protect its citizens. That's quite a lot there. What he said.
We won't just say quite a lot, but to me, where is the lie?
That's it.
Where is the lie? I mean, this is 2020. This is 2026. A lot is happening in this country, and yet it's all about campaign and campaign. I mean, sometimes you're wondering, is it that they don't really know what is happening? Why prioritize campaign over, 2027 campaign over insecurity?
Considering the fact that we still even have the Oyo school children and
exactly
and the
Borno,
bush. Yes. So I think I would agree with you that it's looking like that, but of course, looking at it from the other way, it doesn't still seem like that, because the president always come out and say, okay, we are working on something is being done. But looking at it the other way, looks like they are not actually prioritizing the security of the nation at this moment.
Yes, I'm sorry to cut into your flow. The other day I watched the protest when VDM went to Oyo State, and the governor of Oyo State spoke, and what he said, he said he's not in charge of the security, agencies here
of his own state.
In his own state, and he's up from all indications, he's expecting that something will happen from the federal government. Yes, and then he can be able to maybe synergize with
security in Nigeria.
We do hope.
We also know that recently in Katsina State, a 1,000 forest guard was also inaugurated with the way 1,000 was given, that forest guards 1,000 should also be employed in Katsina. We know that after that of Oyo, it's up. So it's not as if the federal government is not working. But reacting to what you said regarding what the governor said, Seyi Makinde, that security is not in his hand or in purview, we know that more of the power resides in the federal. It doesn't also mean that
like that. So, what will you say to that? And let me also talk about the security guard, because I also mentioned that. Since it's been a while now, for about 2-3 weeks, that the security guards were mentioned, and then we are yet to see results, the effects. There should be. We are yet to see results. That's what we are talking about. So I really do understand your point of view when you said that it's not as if they are not doing anything. But then, where is the result? And somebody also mentioned on the, one of the callers said something about you are quick to pick up someone, locate the person. How does it seem so difficult that, these people are not more than Nigerians, let alone the security agencies we have.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a very crucial thing. I keep on talking about it's easy for you to locate common Nigerians that go out and post. I talked about this when I said they were doing giveaway online. Now these people can actually be traced, and just like you said, they are not bigger than the Nigerian soldiers, the whole country. So these are individuals. These are like fractions. So I believe that if they actually prioritize fighting these people, bringing back the country to a state of security, then it would be done.
All right, we know that it will be done. I also believe that the government is working, but more needs to be done. Deployment of technology in this, it's very key. It's no longer a situation. We also, some of the things we've heard here and there is that we have moles in the military and all that. All of that are things that are impeding the process of this. But as a government, there are more you can do. They cannot supersede now. There's no way. There's a way you have to go. Let's intelligence gathering. Make use of technology. Drones are everywhere. Ammunitions too. You need to.
Exactly. I wouldn't expect that to give this Dane gun to
guards.
Compared to what
compared to what these bandits have or even own.
All right. So let's move on. The Nigeria Democratic Congress has excluded its presidential candidate Peter Obi and his running mate Rabiu Kwankwaso from a newly introduced party requirement mandating candidates to sign an anti-defection oath. The party's national secretary, Ikenna Enekwezu made a disclosure during an interview on a television station. Enekwezu explained that the oath, I'm sorry to the Igbos in case I didn't get that pronunciation right, that the oath, which is intended to discourage elected officials from abandoning the party after elections, is grounded in the NDC constitution, operate as voluntary associations whose members are expected to abide by agreed rules and decisions taken by legitimate party structures, while insisting that all candidates are ordinarily required to sign the oath. Enekwezu revealed that the party leadership had made an administrate from this requirement. This one is saying a lot.
It's actually a good one.
A lot.
No, I love this. You know, we've spoke about this thing where you see a lot of defection, and I think a lot of people gained some positions using Labour Party, but when they got that seat, they defected. So it was not like
Labour Party.
No, I'm using that because because now you know there was a 2023 when Labour Party was out there, so a lot of people used through the party to gain political positions and seats, and after that they defected, and we've seen a lot of defections and defections. But now the problem is, where I have the issue is the fact that some categories of people were exempted. Now I think if it's a rule that the party says they want to abide with, then it should cover every member and don't have exemptions, because I don't see why you're saying the presidential candidate and vice are exempted. It should cut across all party members.
You know what I would like to say about this? This part, this is where the problem will
favoritism.
Start. This is where the problem. I mean, I'm seeing this is the beginning of NDC's problem. To me, that's what I feel. Because when you start like this, I mean, this is a new party relatively. When you start like this, exempting some people, and that's to tell you some people are powerful in that party more than others. So why would you exempt a category of people and then leave out some? Why? That's to say a lot will still happen in future. Yes, this is the beginning. This is the genesis of the problem of NDC. That's just it for me. So it's like the party is already having problem even before they start running, even before the activities. They start having activities. So let's wait for the rainbow tour. Well,
okay, it's a question of. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other. It also tells us a lot. I mean, we don't know what played out when he joined NDC. We don't know the agreement they had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure they won't just want to. You can't use a party to win presidential election and tomorrow you defect. I mean, it's a good thing that they should have tried to hold him down with the oath.
Initially, it wasn't exempted. When it was brought out, it was like everyone. But now this development coming now, it's like, oh, okay, there are exemptions.
There are more to it than meets the eye.
Well, whichever the case is.
It also means that probably Obi has been known to be, he will always leave, whether oath or no oath. Maybe at the end of the day, if it doesn't favor him, there's always, he will move. But this is where NDC should have used the oath to actually tie him down.
Exactly, that's what I feel too.
You are not moving, you are staying with us, good or bad. But it's also, they also said he's doing 1 year, 4 years, one term of 4 years.
So I am not going to.
That's where I'm going. NDC said they can't give him more than 4. So at the end of the day, if he tasted power and he wants to go, and NDC has said no, they can't hold him by the oath. So they need to exempt him from beginning.
So he can leave whenever he wants.
I get where this is heading to now.
So why should it affect some people and not affect others?
That's why.
Like we said, there was an agreement that they came into the party with at first.
So that's what is playing out. Let's move on. Chairman Senate Committee on Interior, Senator Adams Oshomole, APC, Edo North, has said that he never alleged that signatures were forged during the suspension of Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan. Natasha again, PDP Kogi Central of by the Senator Nada Imaswen, APC Edo South led Committee on Ethics, Code of Conduct and Public Petitions. A statement by the Senator, that's Oshomole, yesterday read, and I quote, "My attention has been brought to an obvious misinterpretation of the statement I made during the course of my interview on a television station, quoting the day Monday 15th June 2026, to set the record straight. I wish to make the following clarifications. The insinuation that I said signatures of senators were forged is a complete misrepresentation of what I actually said. I agree absolutely with the spokesperson of the Senate, distinguished Senator Yemi Adaramodu, that no signature of senators was forged in Natasha Akpoti's suspension. This is because no senator complained to me that his or her signature was fine.
Now, you know, I know Oshomole not to be, I know him to be a man that is strong-willed. Let me put it like that. He's not someone you can easily bully. He's not someone, but now, with what he's saying right now, that he never said anyone complained to him that their signature was being forged. But I remember he said something like, the Senator Ireti said that she did not give, maybe like, was it, how did he say it, but then she found her signature there, so it's not contradicting what he initially said. Yes, but then I'm like, but this is Oshomole. He has been someone that is so strong-willed. What is happening? Why are you saying something and coming back to say something else that it's a misinterpretation?
To think that
Misrepresentation.
Representation. Oh, not okay.
And also to add to what you have said too, you know, recently he's been a little controversial, you know, so maybe something, I mean, he's fighting some, I mean, there is something underneath that we really don't know, and he's making him come out like this to talk, so it's possible.
But then, like Isosa said, Oshomole is someone that is strong-willed. Oshomole is someone that will talk even when you put a knife to his neck. Oshomole is somebody that when he talks, people listen. I mean, being a union leader before and all that. But this twist, this new one,
that's why I'm saying, Remy,
it's making Nigerians to begin to ask questions.
Maybe Oshomole has this problem of maybe he wants something and he didn't get it, so he's coming out like this, you know. And then sometimes when it's in favor of you, you know how you talk, and when it's not, you know what to say. I think I'm just thinking,
because even the Ireti Kingibe has also came out to corroborate the story that our signature was forged. So why are we having this now? Why is Mr. Oshomole? Please, let's know you again for who you are. We are getting it all wrong.
That's why we are humans.
Moving on, former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Desiani Alice Imadreke, has reacted to her acquittal by a London court after bribery charges brought against her were dismissed. The Southwark Crown Court in London, United Kingdom, on Wednesday acquitted the former minister of all charges, including 5 counts of accepting bribes and 1 count of conspiracy to commit bribery. Reacting to the judgment, Alice Madruko expressed relief and said she and her family had endured years of emotional distress over the case. Speaking to News Central, she said she has remained in the United Kingdom since the legal proceedings began 11 years ago. She said, and I quote, "I'm just thankful to God. It's been arduous, almost 11 years. It's been traumatic, not just for me, but for my family, friends, my 93-year-old mother in Port Harcourt, and my son." Congratulations to her.
I guess that's what I would even say.
I mean, for all 6 counts, and this was dismissed, and that she was not found guilty of any. But I know that there are still cases against her here in Nigeria of fraud. But then she can get a relief. And you can't say that this one that probably a lot of people don't trust our judiciary, But
that's what I wanted to say.
This didn't happen here.
Yes, I was having a discussion with someone yesterday outside the country, and the person said, "Well, this is a place where it is perceived that they have a good structure, not yes, and then there's the corruption now, relatively not too much." And she said, if to be Nigeria, that they will say she had bribed the judges, but now it's outside the country, so we really have nothing to say, or we can't say that they've been bribed.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Congratulations to her once again.
Congratulations to her. At least for now, she can have a relief.
A breath of
and
fresh
rest.
air.
Exactly. Moving on, the All Progressives Grand Alliance (APGA) in Anambra State has stated that the arrest and prosecution of fake pastors is not politically motivated, describing such claims as baseless. The party made this response following the arrest of Bishop Emeka Nwakpa, a member of the All Progressives Congress (APC), whose supporters accused the APGA-led government in Anambra State of political witch hunt. According to the national coordinator of APGA Media Warriors, Evangelist Chinedu Obigwe, in a statement, the Anambra State government's resolve to stamp out fake pastors and native doctors has no political undertone. Obigwe noted that the Anambra State government would not succumb to what he described as political blackmail being perpetrated by individuals seeking to overheat the system, insisting that Bishop Emeka Nwakpa has no electoral value. I like the point of saying, we need to stamp out fake pastors and all that because we know that they exist.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They're plenty. But are there any evidence to say he's actually a fake pastor? For them to start talking about politically motivated, being politically motivated, maybe probably they also have their point. But then before you can say this is it, and then is arrested, obviously maybe they have evidences against it.
Okay, based on my findings, I believe that the pastor in question is in a political
it's an APC
affiliation
yes, and then he's being arrested by another party. So
party.
I guess why it's political motivated is there. But then looking at it on the other hand, the whole arresting of fake pastors, what does it really have to do with politics?
Nothing.
Because they come out to say they've seen this, they've seen that, that is this party that will come. Sometimes, I'm not restricting it to this. It is this party that will win. It is so, and causing confusion sometimes. So, with that, maybe. But if it comes to evidence,
them fake.
You can't say
sometimes
you cannot say what you don't, what you don't know. Well, in the end, we've seen cases that in the end, it's not the person that you prophesied or whatever. That will eventually.
So sometimes it might be seen by. It might not be clear.
Which one is by? Remy? Which one is by?
It doesn't mean it's fake. Huh? It might not be clear at some point, and then
God is not a God of confusion.
Okay. All right.
I feel like, except this person has, is doing things that are illegal, then you can build up a case.
That's what I said.
Building up a case just on the person being a fake pastor, I don't think it's enough. The person should, we've seen cases where some people, they go to their churches, they get to dig up some fetish things. Okay, then you have a case, and then you be like, okay, this person is involved in human sacrifice and all of that.
That's why I said they might have evidences against him to say he's fake. He's being fake is not as a result of prophecy. Whether with a certain person will win election, there should be more.
There should be more.
Okay.
All right. Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development has taken protective custody of the child of Chisom Chukwuyere, the woman at the center of alleged abuse of a 10-year-old house help, as authorities intensify investigations into the disturbing case. The incident occurred in Anambra State. The development came after the young house help was reportedly rescued with severe injuries allegedly inflicted while in the care of the suspects. Authorities said the suspect's child, identified as Master Chukwu Tulumungo, apologies if I'm not getting that pronunciation right, was removed from her custody as a precautionary measure and placed under government protection pending the outcome of ongoing investigations. According to reports, the child was subsequently handed over to the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, which later placed him in the care of the suspect's husband's eldest sister, Mrs. Rita Onoha, to ensure his safety and welfare. A video obtained by Sahara reporter captured the emotional moment Mrs. Chukwuyere broke down in tears after officials took her child away.
Wow, that's the video there. I mean, the pictures.
That's the picture.
Let me first off, let me say that you have to pay a fine to Obi first because she's Igbo, and then the next because she's a producer of this show. I mean,
Well, she mispronounces my own dialect name, but she's really fine. All right, but not just to her, to all,
let's
our
talk
brothers
about
and
this.
sisters.
It's so heartbreaking to see this. And to think that this woman has a little child. She went through the pain of, birthing a child. She knows what it entails to have a child. I mean, why would you allow another? I mean, to start with, this child is too
10.
yes, too young. Too young.
I would say this, which was something I said before. You do not need to experience childbirth for you to have human sympathy. What makes you a human is the fact that you have feelings, irrespective if normally even you having a 10-year-old as a help is already child abuse, because definitely what does that child know that the child actually wants to do for you? That child, child labor. That child should even still be under your care. You should still be putting that child through. So that's already child labor. And then the kind of should I say injuries you inflicted on this child, or in the name of you're trying to correct this child for something that, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, that the child did, it is very wrong. You needed to see if you
bruises all
the
over
bruises
the body.
all over the hands, the bum, like all over the child's body. That is very inhuman, and I really hope that she gets.
Did you also see the way the child has been eaten like she's been? I mean, maybe a boy
Like
or a girl.
been starving.
He's been starved. It's been eaten like she's been starved. I can't imagine what she must have been going through.
According to reports, the child was actually locked in the room because neighbors have been asking, "Oh, where is your help?" And she's like, "Oh, my help went home. He traveled home," not knowing that because of the pain, the injuries that she inflicted, she could not even let the child come out or even get treated. Yes, or even get treated.
Why would you even use a 10-year-old child as a help? What kind of help can she or he give to you?
I keep saying something.
That child needs help
too.
The
word of God is complete. The Holy Book is complete. The heart of man is desperately wicked. That's even me myself as human. I don't feel understand. God said, "No, feel understand them." So I can't imagine a child under your care. You have to put that child through this kind of torture. Now they took yours. So we all know whether mental issue before you begin to inflict the same kind of this thing on your child. It's painful to you. You're crying and all that. Please, if you must get a help that is old enough. I mean, a child 10.
There are cases there.
There are a lot of them.
A lot of cases, because another thing is you did not allow the child to go to school.
Okay, let's move on. That's another one.
That's another case.
A 23-year-old nursing student of the College of Nursing Sciences and Law in Idemili South local government area of Anambra State has been found dead in her apartment in Uzueziani, Alo. The deceased, identified as Chiamaka Chilaka, an ND2 student of the institution and native of Ishengu in Ungwokbala, local government area of Imo State. Igbo people just want to keep it this morning. One video circulated on social media showed a cleric wailing uncontrollably as he lamented the death of the student, repeatedly shouting, my daughter, in distress." In the video, accounts allege that the deceased had been subjected to repeated unwanted advances by her landlord, which she reportedly rejected. I know the security system, the police will need to do their job to actually uncover what led to her death. Is the landlord culpable in this? If he is, please, she needs to be arrested. He needs to face the full wrath of the law. I can't imagine the pain the parents are going through. You send a child to school and they return the child back to you in body bag. No, dead. No. Please, the security authorities will have to
look into
it deeply. So, and lastly, we also ended on this sad note. Alex Ekubo has been finally laid to rest. It was all-star affairs, people talking, and all that. But then it's gone, and we